You don't post your progress. You don't announce your moves. You don't need applause. And sometimes that makes you wonder, am I even winning? In a world obsessed with highlights, followers, validation, silence feels like failure. But what if the real victories make the least noise? Stay with me. Because if this resonates, you're further ahead than you think. We have been conditioned to equate noise with success. Announcements, luxury, public celebration. But the strongest transformations are invisible. Winning quietly is not about hiding. It is about building without distraction. Here are 10 signs you are winning, even if no one sees it. 1. You react less. What if the greatest reaction isn't clapping back, but staying calm? In a world addicted to outrage, silence feels illegal. Someone posts something indirect, throws shade, or disrespects you in a meeting. The old you would instantly snap, but the new you would pause. What once triggered you doesn't even make you flinch. That is not weakness. That is evolution. Today, reactions are currency. Group chats reward gossip. Drama spreads faster than truth. And people mistake emotional explosions for strength. But it's all a trap. If one comment ruins your day, then they control your peace. If a tone shifts your mood, they control your state. That is not power. The problem is impulse, fast emotion, faster response, regret later. You say things you don't mean. You damage relationships. You look unstable, all because someone pressed a button. But here is the shift. You are not responsible for what happens. You are responsible for how you respond. Pause. Breathe once. Observe the feeling. Let it pass like a notification you don't open. Most triggers are ego, not emergencies. Not every insult deserves a defense. Not every opinion deserves your energy. Not every battle deserves your presence. Emotional restraint is power. It protects your reputation. It sharpens your judgment. It makes people think twice before testing you. Calm people are dangerous. They cannot be baited. They cannot be rushed. They cannot be manipulated. In a culture that celebrates loud reactions, become steady. React less. Think more. Choose deliberately. Because the strongest person in the room is not the loudest. It's the one who cannot be shaken. 2. You no longer need constant validation. What if the most dangerous upgrade you can make is not caring who claps? Be honest. How many decisions were made for approval? How many posts were filtered for likes? How many goals were chosen because they look good? Approval used to fuel you. Comments, hearts, praise, recognition. A good reaction made your day. Silence ruined it. That's the trap. We live in a rating system. Followers, views, performance reviews, public opinion. It trains you to perform, to adjust, to please, and slowly, you forget what you actually want. The problem with chasing validation is simple. It never ends. There is always a higher number, a louder crowd, a new standard. If your worth depends on applause, you will always feel unstable, because applause fades. Now something shifts. You stop asking, do they like this? You start asking, is this right for me? Alignment replaces approval. You move based on values, not vibes, not trends, not pressure. That doesn't mean you don't care about people. It means you don't depend on them to feel whole. Here's the power. When you no longer need validation, you become harder to manipulate. Criticism doesn't crush you. Praise doesn't inflate you. Silence doesn't scare you. You work quietly. You improve privately. You choose deliberately. In a world obsessed with being seen, you focus on being solid. Build skill. Build character. Build self-respect. Let results speak later. Because when you are aligned, you sleep better. You decide faster. You doubt less. And the strange part? When you stop chasing approval, respect often follows. But by then, you no longer need it. 3. You keep promises to yourself. What if your life changed? The moment you stopped breaking your own word? Not promises to others. Those are easy. The hard ones: I'll wake up early. I'll train today. I'll stop scrolling. I'll save money. I'll start tomorrow. Tomorrow becomes next week. Next week becomes next year. And every broken promise leaves a mark. Not visible, but real. Self-trust drops. Confidence weakens. You start doubting your own voice. That's the hidden cost. We live in a world of big announcements, public goals, loud ambition, highlight reels. But real change, it's quiet, small disciplines, daily consistency. No applause required. The problem is intensity without stability. Motivation spikes, then disappears. You go hard for 3 days, then vanish. That cycle kills momentum. The solution is smaller than you think. Lower the drama. Raise the standard. Do less, but do it daily. 10 push-ups, 10 minutes reading, 1 honest conversation, 1 hour focused work. Keep the promise. No negotiation. When you keep small promises, something powerful happens. You begin to trust yourself again. You say, I will. And you do. No audience, no validation, no post about it. Just action. In a culture obsessed with results, focus on repetition. Consistency builds identity. Identity builds confidence. Confidence builds results. You don't need to be extreme. You need to be reliable, especially to yourself. Because the strongest foundation in life is not talent, not hype, not luck. It is self-trust, and self-trust is earned, one kept promise at a time. 4. You choose peace over proving a point. What if winning the argument is actually losing your power? Think about it. Comment sections, family debates, office politics, group chats at 1 a.m. Everyone wants the last word. You craft the perfect reply. Sharp, clever, final. For a moment, it feels good. You won. But what did it cost? Tension, distance, energy. Sleep. Winning arguments often feels empty. Because the goal wasn't truth. It was ego. In today's world, being right is a performance. Screens reward quick comebacks. Hot takes spread fast. Calm reflection looks weak, but here's the shift. Not every point needs to be proven. Not every misunderstanding needs correction. Not every opinion needs your defense. The problem is attachment. Attachment to image, to pride, to being seen as correct. When your identity depends on being right, you become easy to provoke. Anyone can pull you into a fight. Real strength looks different. Pause, listen, respond slowly or not at all. Sometimes the most powerful sentence is, I see your point. Or simply silence. Choosing peace is not surrender, it is control. You stop fighting to dominate others. You start mastering yourself. You protect your mood, your focus, your direction. Because time spent arguing is time not building. And here's the truth. People rarely change their minds mid-argument. But you can change your state instantly. Winning control over yourself feels permanent. It builds discipline. It builds stability. It builds respect, even if no one says it. In a culture addicted to debate, become steady. Let others chase the last word. You chase peace, and that quiet control, that's the real victory. 5. You outgrow environments quietly. What if the next level of your life requires no announcement, just distance? No dramatic exit post, no long explanation, no burning bridges, just evolution. At first, it feels uncomfortable. The jokes don't hit the same. The conversations feel small. The habits feel heavy. You sit there and think, why does this no longer fit? Growth is strange like that. In today's world, people document everything. New jobs, new circles, new season captions, public reinventions. But real growth, it's often silent. The problem is attachment. We cling to old rooms because they feel familiar. Old friends, old routines, old versions of ourselves, even when they limit us. You feel guilty for wanting more. You fear being called different. You worry about outshining the group, so you shrink. That shrinking costs you. Energy drops. Ambition softens. Potential stalls. Here's the truth. Not every environment is meant for your next stage. Some places built you. They were necessary, but they are not permanent. Wise growth is quiet. You start reading more, training more, spending time differently, choosing conversations carefully. You don't criticize the old space. You just stop fitting into it. No announcement needed. Maturity understands this. Outgrowing is not betrayal. It is alignment. The solution is simple. Accept the shift. Honor what was. Release what no longer serves. Upgrade your standards. Upgrade your circle. Upgrade your habits without noise. Because when growth is real, it doesn't beg for attention. It shows in your results, your calm, your direction. And one day, you look around and realize you didn't leave loudly. You just evolved. 6. You embrace discomfort willingly. What if the shortcut you keep looking for is actually discomfort? Cold mornings, hard conversations, difficult truths. Most people run, snooze the alarm, avoid the talk, ignore the red flags, scroll instead, numb out, delay. We live in the age of comfort, food in minutes, entertainment in seconds, validation on demand. Everything is designed to keep you comfortable, and comfort feels good until it costs you. Missed workouts, unspoken resentment, skills never built, standards slowly lowered. The problem is simple. Comfort now, regret later, discomfort now, strength later. Growth hides inside friction. That cold morning, it builds discipline. That hard conversation, it builds clarity. That difficult truth, it builds freedom. Most suffering comes from avoidance, not action. You avoid the doctor, the problem grows. You avoid the talk, the distance widens. You avoid the work, the dream fades. Pain delayed is pain multiplied, so you flip the script. You lean in, wake up when it's still dark, say what needs to be said, admit where you're wrong, face what scares you. Not because it feels good, because it makes you solid. In today's world, comfort is normal. Resilience is rare. Be rare. Train your mind to choose long-term gain over short-term ease. Start small. One uncomfortable action a day. One honest sentence. One disciplined choice. Over time, discomfort stops feeling like punishment. It feels like progress. And here's the reward. Confidence. Real confidence. Not loud, not performative. Earned. Because you know something most don't. You can handle hard things. And that changes everything. 7. You compare less. What if the reason you feel behind is because you keep watching someone else's timeline? Open your phone. Engagement announcements. New cars. 6-figure months. Fitness transformations. Day in my life videos that look perfect. It feels like everyone is ahead. Same age, same city, different results. Comparison hits fast, quiet, heavy. You start questioning yourself. Am I late? Did I miss my chance? Why not me? This is the trap of modern life. We are exposed to thousands of highlight reels daily, but we compare them to our behind the scenes, That is unfair math. The problem is constant exposure. Algorithms feed you the best moments of strangers. You measure your chapter 2 against someone's chapter 20. Of course you feel behind, but progress is personal. Different starting points, different responsibilities, different struggles no one posts. Some build early, some build slowly, some rebuild after loss. Speed is not the same as direction. Instead of comparing outcomes, measure effort. Are you better than last year? More disciplined, more aware, more skilled? That's real progress. Limit unnecessary exposure. Curate what you consume. Mute what triggers insecurity, not out of jealousy, out of protection. Focus on your lane, your habits, your timing. In a world obsessed with racing, learn to build quietly, steadily, intentionally. Because when you stop comparing, something powerful happens. You reclaim energy. Energy once wasted on envy goes into execution. And over time, you look up, not ahead, not behind, just forward. And that's enough. 8. You listen more than you speak. What if the smartest person in the room is the quietest? Sounds backward. We live in a loud world. Podcasts talking over each other. Comment sections debating everything. Meetings where everyone waits to speak, not to understand. Stories, reels, opinions, hot takes. Noise everywhere. Talking feels powerful. Posting feels relevant. Reacting feels necessary. But constant speaking hides something. Insecurity. When you talk too much, you stop observing. When you rush to respond, you miss information. When you dominate space, you lose insight. Silence sharpens awareness. When you listen fully, patterns appear. Tone shifts. Hidden motives. Unspoken fears. Real intentions. Most people reveal themselves if you give them space. The problem today is impatience. We interrupt. We assume. We prepare our reply while the other person is still talking. That kills connection. It also kills strategy. If you want influence, listen first. In conversations, ask better questions. Pause before answering. Let silence breathe. Silence makes others uncomfortable. They fill it with truth. In conflict, listening lowers heat. In business, listening reveals opportunity. In relationships, listening builds trust. You don't need to win every exchange. You need to understand it. Speak less. Notice more. When you finally talk, your words carry weight. Because they are measured, not emotional, not rushed. In a culture addicted to expression, restraint stands out. The quiet person sees more, learns faster, moves smarter, and here's the reward: clarity. While others compete for attention, you collect information. And information used wisely is power. So next time you feel the urge to jump in, pause, let them finish, listen. There is always more being said than words alone. 9. You forgive faster. What if holding that grudge is costing you more than it's costing them? Read that again. They moved on. They're sleeping fine, posting, laughing, living, and you, replaying the moment, rewriting the argument, feeling the anger again. That's the trap. We think anger gives us power. We think resentment protects us. We think holding on proves we were wronged. But it doesn't punish them. It poisons you. Tight chest, short temper, heavy mind. In today's world, outrage is normalized. Cancel culture, public callouts, permanent grudges. Forgiveness looks weak. It's not. Forgiveness is control. Not saying what they did was okay. Not pretending it didn't hurt. It did hurt. But you refuse to carry it forever. The problem is attachment to the story. You build an identity around being wronged. You replay it to justify distance. You keep the wound open to stay right. That keeps you stuck. Forgiving faster doesn't mean trusting faster. Two different things. You can forgive and still set boundaries. You can release anger and still walk away. Forgiveness is internal. Access is external. Choose peace strategically. Ask yourself, is this anger helping me build, or is it draining me? Most of the time, it drains. Let it go. Not for them. For your focus, for your sleep, for your clarity. Because when you forgive, something powerful happens. Your energy returns. Energy once trapped in resentment goes into growth. And that is the real win. Not revenge, not validation. Peace. And peace is priceless. 10. You focus on what you can control. What if the secret to winning in life is learning what to ignore? Think about modern life. News feeds full of problems you cannot solve. People arguing online about things they will never change. Work stress, money stress, relationship stress. You feel pressure everywhere. You start worrying about things you cannot control. The economy, other people's opinions, the past, the future. And anxiety grows quietly. The problem is simple. We try to control the uncontrollable. You cannot control someone's behavior. You cannot control trends. You cannot control every outcome. But you can control effort, attitude, habits, daily actions. That is where real power lives. In today's world, people chase external wins, likes, followers, approval, status symbols. But real strength is quieter. It is waking up early when you don't feel like it, working when motivation is gone, staying calm when others panic, thinking before reacting. Winning quietly feels strange at first. There are no trophies, no loud celebrations, no viral posts about it. Just stability inside your mind. And that stability is rare in a chaotic world. Start small. When something stresses you, ask 3 questions. Can I control this? If yes, act. If no, let it go. Stop fighting battles you cannot win. Save energy for what builds your future. In a culture obsessed with control over everything, the strongest move is selective focus. Control your habits. Control your effort. Control your response. And over time, you will notice something powerful. You become harder to disturb, harder to manipulate, harder to break. Because real victory is not loud. It is calm, steady, unshakable.